All right, so let's talk about the $1 million question. How much does burial insurance actually cost? Now, I know you've probably filled out a bunch of forms and nobody wants to tell you how much it costs. And every single time that you try to figure out, okay, how much do I actually have to pay for this stuff? I just want to protect my family. You get a million freaking phone calls, text, emails, all kinds of crazy stuff. And you literally just want to figure out how much does it cost so that you can budget for it, right? Well, let's break down how do companies actually figure out how much this stuff costs, and then how much is it actually going to cost for you? We're going to answer that question as well. So there are 6 main factors companies use to determine what your coverage is going to cost. Let's jump into this. So number 1 is gender. Men are typically going to pay about 23% more for life insurance than women because men live less long than women. That's just kind of the way it is. We do dumb stuff, and we drive a little bit faster on the road, and that's just kind of the way that it is. I used to tell my clients, the reason that men pay more is because they drink more and drive faster, sometimes at the same time, unfortunately. And that's just kind of the way that it is. You know, we're going to pay more every single time, and that's just kind of factored into the rate. So the insurance companies are a bunch of math geeks and math nerds that do statistics all day, and this is what they found is that men don't live as long as women, and so they adjust that into the rate so that all of the prices are set accordingly. So gender, number 1, very, very simple. Men pay more than women. Age. The older you are, the more you will pay for life insurance, right? And the reason for this is because insurance companies base prices off of risk. That's why men pay more than women. And older people have a higher risk of dying than younger people. That's another thing that I don't feel like I have to explain too much, but somebody who's 89 has a higher risk of dying than someone who's 55. Obviously, the health plays a factor too, which we'll jump on in a second. But in general, the older you are, the rate is going to be higher than somebody who's younger than you. The next thing is health. So again, insurance companies, the math geeks, the math nerds, they're basing all these things off of statistics and risk, and they found that people with more health conditions typically die younger. Obviously, there's outliers to that rule, but the more health conditions you have, the more you're usually going to pay for insurance. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that will get you a good rate regardless, but just overall in general, obviously I'm speaking in broad generalities here, people who have worse health are going to pay more for life insurance. Also smokers, so people who smoke have a higher risk of dying. They're basing this off of risk, so people that use tobacco are usually going to pay more for life insurance. And then also the state that you're in. So this doesn't usually have like a major impact on the price, but it basically has more of an impact on the options that you have. So some companies have kind of adjusted things a little bit differently. So they have more regulations than others. And so some companies will decide to do business in certain states and not do business in others. So for example, people that live in New York, there's only like a few companies that work there because the regulations are so high. But the biggest thing here is just figuring out if a particular company or particular plan is going to be available in your state. So state also plays a little bit of a factor there too. And then also this one's very obvious, the amount of coverage. So the more coverage you get, the higher your price is going to be. $20,000 is going to cost more than $10,000. That's very, very simple. So let's look at a couple of examples. And so basically kind of the way that I want to explain this to you guys is the way that these insurance companies would figure out these rates and figure out everything. And the reason that nobody actually tells you the price over the phone is because of all of these factors we just went over. So if you are a male or a female, your rate's going to be different. If you're 65 versus 75, your rate's going to be different. If you have diabetes or you don't have diabetes, your rate might be different. If you smoke tobacco or don't smoke tobacco, your rate is going to be different. The state, the rates differ. And the amount of coverage, the rates differ. So that's why like nobody will just outright tell you a price. You're like, hey, I just want to know the price. This is why they can't do that, is because they have to factor in all of these things. But what I want to do is I want to show a few examples and actually show you what the price would be for a few different people. And I'm going to show you like what the back end looks like when we help a client find the best rates for them, like what we actually see so that you can kind of like see behind the scenes. And I don't think anyone has ever done this in the insurance industry. So check this out. So basically we're going to look at a 67-year-old male, and this is basically kind of what we see. So it says get a final expense quote. We have all of the different companies in here. And then basically what we do is let's look at, I'm going to use 10,000 in coverage for every single one. So as you can see, 10,000 in coverage right here, right? We said that this client was a male. Let's just say that everyone lives in Texas because everyone's moving to Texas. And we're going to say this guy was 67. So that would mean he was born in 1956, age 67. I'll just do a normal height and weight, 5'9", 185. And we said that he does not use tobacco, right? So again, whenever we're jumping on the phone with somebody, we're kind of filling this out. He's not a tobacco user. And then we're going to go over to the health conditions. So we said that we'll just call him Jim. So Jim does have diabetes. So I'm going to enter in health condition, diabetes. He doesn't have an amputation. We'll just say he has diabetes with no complications. The date of last treatment, so the last time he was treated. Like, as you guys can see, this is getting like super in the weeds as far as like what's actually going on with this particular person. And this is why like no one will really give you a price over the phone, is because to find you the best price, this is what they actually have to do. So we'll say the date of last diagnosis was recent. He does use insulin. And we'll just say he started using insulin at age 60. How many units of insulin does he take? Like all this stuff gets super, super in the weeds. No changes in the medicine. Nope. Boom. So as you saw, there's so many freaking questions that they're asking us. And this is just to like really drill down and find the best possible rate. So again, we got 67-year-old male, no tobacco, diabetes, and insulin. Let's see what is going to be the rate that this guy will pay. So a bunch of these different companies will pop up. As you can see, the rates will differ from this company, Mutual of Omaha. Some of you may have heard of it. You scroll down, there's all these different prices. And like, let's say, for example, I go to this company and I just fill something in on their mail. I'm going to pay a lot more than if I deal with a broker who's going to be able to find me something $35 cheaper. And so basically this is kind of what we see on the back end. And then we just say, hey, look, this lowest price company is going to give you the best option. Let's go ahead and apply and see if we can get you approved. So there we go. That's our 67-year-old male. He's going to pay about $63.18 a month for 10,000 in coverage. We can also look at like 25,000 right here. And again, this is assuming he has diabetes with no complications and is on insulin. Let's see again. Okay, now this time 25,000 in coverage. This is going to be the cheapest option. So this is why like it's so important to have someone that can kind of do this work behind the scenes for you to find you the best option. So there we go. That's our 67-year-old male. He's either going to pay about $63 a month for 10,000, or for 25,000 about $151 a month. So let's look at a 73-year-old female. So we're going to adjust this back to 10,000 in coverage. She's a female. She's also living in Texas. Let's say she is using tobacco, so she's using cigarettes. She had a heart attack 2 years ago. So let's add this in here. Heart attack. The date of occurrence, we'll say it was 2 years ago. Has the prospect had more than one heart attack in their lifetime? We're going to say no. We're going to remove diabetes. And she's on high blood pressure medicine, lovastatin. All right, for high cholesterol. And let's say that she's taking it currently, and she started taking it 2 years ago. All right, so we'll say she's 5'3", 155. We said she was 73, so that would mean that she was born in, we're going to subtract 6 from this, so that'd be 1950. All right, there we go. So we got a 73-year-old female. Let's see how much $10,000 in coverage is going to cost for her. So here we go. We got all these different companies, and it looks like this one up at the top, America, would offer her $78 a month. So the difference between the lowest cost and the second low cost is like $11, which adds up to like $100 a year, which when you're on a fixed income is quite a bit. So that's what it would cost for a 73-year-old woman with these particular conditions. Let's look at one more example. So this is going to be a 68-year-old female. So we're going to go adjust the birthday here. So 68. We'll use the same height and weight. We're going to say she has allergies and mild asthma. So allergies, mild asthma. This is current. Do they use a inhaler? We'll say yes. Yes. No. Okay, and then this person is using albuterol, which is a very common inhaler. Albuterol for mild asthma. Yes. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to say high blood pressure. Lisinopril and amlodipine. This is for high blood pressure controlled. And this is for high blood pressure as well. We'll just throw this in. Boom. And the last thing is atorvastatin. All right, so let's look at the quotes here for $10,000 in coverage. So this lady is going to pay about $60 a month, $60.50 a month for $10,000 in coverage, and we look at $25,000 here. Pull up some prices. So for $25,000, she'd pay about $145 a month. So as you can see, all of this is really going to depend based off of the person's health, their age. And as you guys can see, like there's so many questions that they actually ask before we can even get a price. And this is why most people won't show you a price. I went a little bit further than most people would do and kind of like show you the back end of what we see as an insurance agent, so that we're able to like match you with, hey, look, this is going to be the best option for you. And it's this much better than the second best option and all these other options. So basically, whenever you jump on the phone with someone from Zusurance or a different agent, they're going to be able to go through on the back end and like put in all of your different conditions to find you the lowest cost. So that's kind of an idea of like what this will cost based off of other people's health. To get your exact price, we will need to ask you a couple of questions. Basically just kind of the similar things that you just saw me go through that determine the factors. And we'll be able to find you what company is going to offer you the lowest possible price for the most amount of coverage. So with that being said, if you guys want us to help you with this exact process, kind of run through everything, figure out how much coverage you can get, lowest possible price, and then actually help you apply for that coverage, and kind of answer any questions that you have, just click the link down below. We're happy to help you protect your family. Click the button below, book a time with us, and we'll take it from there. That being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.